俺はルフィ、海賊王になる男だ。
It's a great day here at KEKFILA's YouTube channel. I am the KEKFILA, and this is actually a recap video of my Texas Fort Worth adventures I had around the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th. And, as a general intro, I'm actually just going to say 100% please, if you're trying to skip through the games, make sure you guys look at the thumbnails, or not the thumbnails, the timestamps at the bottom of the video, and that will lead you to where you want to go. And make sure you guys continue to like and subscribe to my YouTube, and also make sure you guys give me a follow on Twitter. I've recently gotten a lot of follows on Twitter because I'm doing market watch pictures on Twitter. I could do a video, but generally when it comes to a video versus a picture, just a quick thing, and a video, there really isn't a point because everything changes so quickly. So, but without further ado, let's get into the trip. So first of all, I flew to Texas for the first time, flying Delta, whatever. That was fine, but I want to note that I didn't really feel any kind of Southern hospitality. I don't really know what I was expecting, but I felt maybe the people in Texas, like the workers, were kind of rude. But the local players, the people that were playing and stuff, they weren't rude. Everyone was okay, right? I just felt that vibe going on with that, I guess, compared to where I live in Utah. So with that, I did go to locals that first Friday night. I did go to an early check-in the day before as well on Friday. And then I went to Epic Games. They started their locals at 7:30. And it was kind of strange when I, do that locals at 7:30, and it just starts really late. It went full 5 rounds. So, and of course, I lose my first game, but I win the rest of the 4. Actually, I learned one thing from that game, so maybe I can't lose the next one, but that's just kind of how it was. And I was able to pull a Alt Magellan SP from that. So that's pretty good. That's my first face card from any of these pack openings. So, pretty legit. And then I get to my hotel. Next day I wake up. I know that I'm not going to really have an issue. I just kind of go over there. I already got pre-registered. I'm not on any wait list, but there was a lot of drama with the wait list and Top Cut. I'm not going to go into every single detail because it literally goes back to when the signups happened. There was a lot of confusion. It was honestly the wait list for any event isn't a true wait list. So maybe just ask the event organizer about it, especially if you're planning to fly over there, because people were obviously not happy that they spent so much money to fly there to not get in. Especially, I feel like the expectation lately when it comes to tournaments is that you can always get in from the wait list, because that's been shown in the past. You can always get in from a wait list. If it's a 1,000-person tournament, probably. If it's a place like Peoria, you can probably just get in from the wait list, like just walking up, or maybe even Gen Con. But like places like Texas, Florida, or even California, you probably have 0 chance, or a very low chance of getting in unless you show up really, really, really early. And that's actually where we're going to start with this tournament. So there was people that got there super early. A lot of respect to them. I mean by super early, they started doing lineups and stuff at like 8, and they lined up at like 6. So they were there really early, and they had a small chance to get in. Imagine the people that get there like at 8:30 to get in the line, and they told they can't even get their name on a wait list. So people were understandably upset to not even have a 1% chance, because there probably was a chance they could get in. There's always a lot of things that go on, right? But ended up being kind of a lot of BS with that. I don't want to go into too much of that, but basically that kind of started the tone for the most of the tournament, that people were very generally tired. And that also the event starting a little bit later, it was kind of rough. The event was supposed to start at 10 a.m. the first round, and it was a bunch of things. So number one, they had a thing where you can't bring in outside food. And then number 2, you cannot well, you can't. You can't. There's one bathroom for the men's. There's actually 2 bathrooms, but there's only 1 toilet in each of them. So you can use the urinal. There's a bunch of those, but it was just really bad. I'm glad I had a hotel 3-minute walk so I can go and use that instead, because it's just a complete nightmare trying to do that, especially if you go to your game and you're like super nervous. That's gonna be a normal thing for everybody, and everyone feels that same way, But with that, I suppose they're supposed to start round 1 at 10 a.m. But they didn't even have table markers out yet. At 10 a.m., they start putting table markers out. We didn't hit the first round started till 10:40. And I do want to say there was a lunch break after round 4. And this was 9 rounds. After round 4, they did a 45-minute lunch break. And it felt like an hour. And people just get tired. They get super bored, basically between these rounds. They just kind of want to do the games and then go out and have fun, right? Some of these events just need to run a little bit faster, or have that plan. That's my feedback on it personally. I've seen a lot of well-ran events before, and this one was in the middle, right? I've seen worse events, so trust me. But my biggest suggestion too with most of these events, if they have events that they'd want to restrict you from bringing in food, you could maybe like hide beef jerky into your binder, right? So they're mostly looking for just illegal substances, but just be really good about that. Just don't do anything you think you wouldn't be caught dead with. So without further ado though, let's get into all of my games that I played. So first of all, I go into this and essentially everyone's all tired, and we go into round 1. It's pretty late, and we find our tables. And, this is like the whole New Gates last hurrah kind of deal. No one on our table, like these past like 6 games, like 12 people are out playing New Gates. So it was a vibe already given off. Okay. And I did play Queen. Here's my deck list. I do work a lot with Holden Miller, and I use the same deck list. And, I've jumped back and forth between a few cards, but I did this, and I think it worked really well for what I wanted to do. And I made make sure I didn't get too unlucky. Right. So, round 1, however, I take a big loss against a big mom playing yellow. And I don't want to give really an apology, but to this guy, I wasn't exactly the nicest at the beginning of the game. And it was mostly because he rolled his dice, but he just like kind of picked them up and dropped them, and it hit a bigger number. I just told him, just roll the dice next time. Like, just do that. I don't think you're cheating. I don't really thought he was doing that, but it always bothers me. It does bother me. I wish I just picked it up and actually rolled it like a person, so no one has a question, because I know people that have done that, on purpose. So with that though, I ended up losing to this big mom. I actually started damage denying, but he actually had that mom actually has a good skill. It actually can take cards from its life and just keep them in hand, right? So damage denying doesn't really help against this. And he saw a big mom. I think I had a way out if I attacked his big mom with it took a whole turn and just attack his big mom once. And honestly, it was just rough because I didn't do that, to be honest. So he saw 3/10 drops, and I just didn't see enough red rocks early enough. I think I saw one super late in the game, and I didn't attack his other one earlier enough. I think I had a way out of this game, but I played it wrong at the beginning. And I start off X-1, imagine flying all the way from Utah to Texas to lose round 1. That's the joke I made every single round after that. So everyone laughed every time I said that joke, because it is funny, So I go to round 2. I end up playing a Katakuri. Lucky me, I'm facing only yellow, and I'm losing the dice roll, by the way. I keep on losing the dice roll. And in this game, actually, I kind of felt at some point I was going to be losing this game. And but I fortunately I kept on hitting early on out of life these 3-drop blocker triggers. So I was starting to get really lucky with those early on. And then I was able to see red rocks a little later, and also able to attack into his big characters. And so I did have to, I normally don't do this. I did have to do a little bit of a damage deny versus this guy. and it's not my normal strategy, but I felt because of what my hand was and what things were going on, my previous experience in the previous game, that's how that went. And I kind of lucked out with just seeing so many trigger cards off of Doflamingo, off of playing a Yamato and getting 2 life, seeing trigger cards after trigger cards. I was able to kind of systematically win the game, and it felt good that my opponent was really nice with me, and I think I saw him later on that day, but it was just a good game for me, and I think I honestly got lucky with that. So round 3, I end up facing a Rebecca player. I believe his name was Clifford, and he ended up just not seeing his stage card. With that, I win this game, by the way. He didn't see his stage card, so he's not able to put any pressure on me. He's not able to really remove bodies, even his Luffy on play. So that's really the only thing. And the only other thing that happened outside of this is that someone said, "Hey, that guy you're playing against, me, be careful, bro. He's going to ID you." And it's like, oh my God, that's so funny. If you guys know, you guys know. But the guy actually got his ID out and showed me. I'm like, I don't need to see your ID unless I lose. But but that was after the game, after I won. But I wasn't going to ask for his ID anyway. It's just a terrible rat fillet meme, right? So, but with that, I'm just going to go back to round 4. Round 4, I face another Rebecca. And I do want to mention a thing. Every time these 2 Rebecca players that I fought against, when I said I'm playing Queen, they were like, "Oh, no, this is bad for me." In my eyes, it's really good for them. I've had a hard time against Rebeccas, good Rebeccas in the past. Obviously, I don't think these guys are bad. They were just a little unlucky, actually. But and they already had a defeatist mindset that they were going to lose the game. I don't think that had to do with it at all, but maybe they don't know the sauce of how to beat it. I don't know exactly either, but I've definitely lost to a Rebecca before. So what ended up happening is that second game against Rebecca, so round 4, I ended up winning because I was able to play out a bunch of big bodies and then just swing at them. I played 4 9-drops, so two Yamatos and 2 Mihawks. And I just had a big board to swing at him, and he wasn't able to really remove any on curve and build up defense at the same time. And we just kind of went from there, went to a lunch break. Cross and I, we went back to the hotel just to get some candy, some soda pop, and and some snacks from the lobby. And then after that, we went back to the event, and at this point, I'm 3-1. Actually, I'm 3-0. I lost the first game. What the next 3? All right. And I go to my round 5. I'm facing Edward Newgate. And this Newgate player, we have the same deck box. I'll kind of show you what's going on with these awesome deck box. With the same deck box, so we're vibing, having a good time, dude. I'm making my same joke. Imagine flying here and then losing round 1, right? So, with this round, what ended up happening is we actually have a very competitive game back and forth, and I had to take him down to where, he won he should have won pretty standardly. I won this game, by the way. So this is a win for me. But what ended up happening is on his last board, I pretty much was losing the game. I had 1 blocker on the field. I had 1 card in my life, and I had 2 cards in the hand, a Gum Gum Rain and a blocker. But that blocker was just going to be Gum Gum Rain Water. So because all he has to do is swing big at Luffy twice against me, and then if I hit something, maybe he can attack with other cards. He just needs to throw Dawns on cards. So he first swings 6, and I use a Gum Gum Rain, counter out. And then he swings 6 again with his leader. And then I block that, because if I don't block, he just gonna swing 16, right? Another one is Luffy's. And I have, 1 life, and he only has 2 attackers. He didn't have a rush character in hand. So he says out loud, the only thing I lose to here is Capone Beige. And he's like, can I look at it? And I am like, no. And then people are watching at this point. I have Will behind me, right? Dee Dee. And I look at the card real slowly, and what do you know? It was the one out, the Capone Beige. And I show him, and he's like, "Aw." So it was gross. He had a way out. If he just put Dawn on his characters and then Luffy later, he would have for sure had that. It was unfortunate. I thought he pretty much won, but I didn't even think about my out there, which was him swinging low and then that happening. So got away with that one. Sometimes you get lucky, and that's definitely lucky for me. So I got 4 wins, 1 loss going into round 6, where I face a Law. And this is by far probably my worst matchup. I play against Jules Senpai at my locals, and essentially I do win this game, which is spoilers, right? Pretty great. What I ended up doing is healing the dice roll. I go first. I damage deny him. Do not attack him. I hit a 3,000 worlds at a trigger. I hit a blocker at a trigger. I place a ton of blockers on the field to make it harder later for him. And he's not really seeing a Bonnie. His plus engine isn't online running. He wasn't seeing a Rush Zoro either, because that would have been really good. Rush Zoro into Law. He ended up seeing 3 Laws on curve. And what I ended up doing over this whole game was playing 2 Yamatos, getting full value of both the Yamatos, and then playing 2 Mihawks. And it came to the point where I was playing Mihawks over my blockers, because I think I played over 3 blockers. So the 3 of those little blockers with Yamato and 2 Mihawks, and I was just removing his board. And then when I played my first Mihawk, I started attacking him, and then I killed him 2 turns later after that, because I was pretty much in the clear. I'm pretty darn healthy, and he's not really able to really push me down because I have these blockers and I have this. I don't think he saw a Rush Zoro too late in the game. And nobody's ever happy that they lose. No one was ever like happy that they lost in these games. I did have fun games against people actually though, but essentially though, like I have no sympathy for Law players though, but with that Law, yeah, he wasn't exactly the happiest to like not get damage denied, because it is a lame way to play. But I'm trying to win the game, and it's not like they're playing Law. It's kind of lame as hell too. So it's just it's just what it is. I'm glad I was able to sneak that lucky win through as well. I consider myself lucky with all my 9 drops I saw. So especially two Yamatos is pretty goated, and all these blockers. So next round, I'm 5 wins, 1 loss. Again, I tell everybody I'm actually 5-0. I just lost my first round, so 1 loss, 5 wins. So I face a Katakuri, and in this matchup, he wins the die roll. Actually, no, I win the die roll. He rolled Snake Eyes. I go second, so I can put him off curve and see red rocks. And my starting hand was really rough. I'll kind of show you what my starting hand is here. I thought about it for a long time. I'm like, I actually have a decent curve with this. I can maybe play off of Yamato as well. I don't know what I want to do, right? Especially the fact that the main thing is you have to really think about this. If your opponent keeps or snap keeps, or if they mulligan. If they snap keep and he snap kept, like he saw his hand and said, I'm keeping this hand, which basically just tells me, oh, I'm in rough shape. I need to play a really, really bad way where I have to go long game here. I'm assuming he has a 10 drops and maybe even puddings, 8 drop, right? So with some of the snap keeps like that, they have at least 1 10 drop. So their chances of seeing a 2 or 3 are really high if I attack them. I need to be able to remove their aggressive board. And them going first is very aggressive as well, because they actually have good curve. And guess what? He saw a very good curve. I had to attack his board and use what I ended up doing, I swung at the characters. I 3,000. I played a Sanji down. I played down I red rocked a Randolph. I'm trying to save this, but it's like, honestly, this is a super hard game. And he ends up playing things like Shirahoshi from hand and swinging at me really tall with his leader and his pudding, and I'm just still deciding not to damage him. He's at 5 life for a long time. I don't have anything to put anything into his life until later. I think it Katakuri'd one of his Katakuri later, like way later in the game. One point in the game, I ended up seeing a Sasaki, and I had already played down a Yamato to get a life, but I'm just kind of lost on what to do. And I wasn't able to play down another Yamato. I was able to, but I wasn't going to get a life from it because he Katakuri'd my Sanji back to my life. And I was like, oh no, I only have 2 life now. I can't get value off this. So I played the Sasaki, and I actually got a Soja King, and I'm like, I'll put the Soja King down and then put the Sasaki back in my hand. I just basically built a board with refreshing my hand, and I was able to see it, and actually not a bad hand at all. And from there, I actually kind of luck sacked by playing 3-drop Doflamingos and seeing just blocker after blocker after blocker after Capone Beige. And so I was able to build up a big board. I think I red rocked his 10-drop mom, and then I didn't kill a second 10-drop mom, but what I ended up doing is just controlling his board and then eventually just swinging in really big over turn after turn. I think his big mistake here is I attacked this Katakuri for 13 at some point, and he guarded out for 6k counter. And I mean, that's the main thing. Like, his hand went away. I didn't deal with the Katakuri, but I dealt with it later, and I was able just to clear out his board completely, eliminating him going wide on me. And I luck sacked. It actually came down to my last 2 life, and it was a blocker and a Capone Beige. I put them in that order, Capone Beige being the last one, and it didn't matter which one it was because I had a blocker. He he bolted it, and then I hit a Capone Beige, so his mom can attack. And he's like, "Oh, that's so strong." So it's really funny too, because he'll attack with his leader, and you'll see it. And I'm like, "Oh no, I see it." Yeah, I take the damage. I make it so his character can attack. So, honestly, I don't know how I weaseled myself back out of that game, but it's just kind of the trend today. So pretty good. I'm now 6-1. I go to my 8th round. I end up facing a new gate, and this is a very interesting game. This is the game where I felt like I had the most control over. And essentially, first of all, a little side story. Eric Quintana was right there, and this guy in front of me, he rolls his dice, and he rolls an 11. I'm like, dang, that's super good. We already agreed on high roll, right? And I say, watch this. Like, so like really stupid. So I shake the dice real hard, roll it, hit it off my hand, because that's what I do. And then it rolls, spins super hard. I get a 12. So, and Eric went nuts, dude. He gave me a high five, like, "Oh, bro, I'm so sorry, bro." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go second. I'll choose to go second." He may have just chose to go first anyway, but that was like honestly like a highlight of the tournament. Me rolling a 12 versus 11. So silly, right? Especially when it matters. So. What ended up happening in this game, he saw his curve, but I was able to use 3,000 rolls to remove his curve. I don't remember what I did on my 6th dawn turn. I actually don't remember most of this game. I think I played a 8-drop on my 8-drop turn, a Katakuri, and with that, I think I was able to play a couple Yamatos just to get life going to begin with. And there was a point in the game where I was very comfortable. My opponent sat there. He's going to go to 0 life, and he has 10 cards in hand. And he thought about this for maybe 5 minutes. I let him have as much time as needed. I have 2 cards in hand. I guarded out, so I had 0 cards in hand. So he had really no decision, but he's just saying, "Wow, this is rough," because clean leader skills is really strong, right? I put him in a really, really bad spot. He has to play defensive. I think what that means when someone says that's rough and they take a long time, that's weakness. And I mean, I go for a guaranteed win anyway. I don't really go for maybe wins. And the weakness there was that he's not able to guard out if I was to just attack really tall. He's like counting it over and over and over again. And he has to keep Dawn up to fake me out. Wait, I'm going to respect that because I probably just lose if I don't respect it. I can go for the guaranteed win. And I'm sitting here, and he plays out a 1-drop chopper, which these choppers are extremely, extremely annoying. But I did have 1 life, and I drew a card. I'd be like, "Oh, a Yamato would be really nice." I look at it, and it's a Yamato. Wouldn't you believe it? So I go, it's a super hype. I play that down, kill the chopper. I get 2 life. Just an overwhelming victory, to be honest, because of how much attack I had basically from that. He had lack of counter. So I did that. I went to deck check, passed deck check, whatever is that, right? And then round 9. Now I'm 7-1 now, pretty big. I I don't have good tiebreakers. So even if I win this round, I don't think I'm getting top 8, 9th, 10th. I still want to win, obviously. There's incentive for me to win. I play against a player playing Whitebeard. Jace, I even will post, he actually had a custom leader. I didn't care. This place was really nice about letting people play their custom leaders. I mean, I think it's just basically an opponent's discretion at that point. But I never said anything to my opponent. They asked ahead of time. So, and he's like a fellow Spike Brother player because, you know, that's what we do. That's what we do here, right? That's what we do. So with that as well, we play this game. Unfortunately, I do lose this game, and I mean, he saw everything he needed to see, and I did not see a 3,000 worlds on curve. I think I maybe had one way out. I attacked big into his Frankie for 9, and then played a blocker. I'm thinking maybe I should have just swung for 12 and killed the Frankie. It would have been better overall. However, looking at the top of my deck for the next like 4 turns, it was all no counter. It was abysmally bad. Like I don't think there's a way I even am able to use leader skill if I was able to survive 2 more turns, right? Or 1 more turn. So he won that game pretty solidly. And, you know, we just kind of take that loss. I ended up getting 28th place, going 7-2. I was really worried about my tiebreakers, put me like 33rd or something. And with that, you know, I scream out like, I'm so happy that I got top 32. I didn't get like bottomed into there. So with that, I got some awesome prizing, some finalist cards. They didn't have a mat. I didn't ask about that. Maybe they're waiting on those mats, but I got some finalist cards. I'm selling these, by the way, so I'll make sure to put some pictures down for you guys. I put them in these acrylic cases if you did buy them. But definitely this championship Marco is freaking hot, right? It's really good. So overall, I had a good time, right? Next weekend, I'm going to be playing in Pasadena. I've been playing Blue Doflamingo, and I'll be, you know, just cooking that shit up, basically. If you do see me at Pasadena, please come up to me. Just say hi. Say, hey, I'm this person. You're KEKFILA, right? It's nice to meet you. And I'll say hi to you too. And I appreciate you watching this video if you've gotten through with this. I did want to have one last gripe before I left, however. And it was kind of crappy. Top Cut, they do a sign up and they don't do a picture deck list. They do only a dev link. And every other one does a dev link and a picture deck list. And we don't know why this is, but it screwed people and it screwed Will out of a win because they gave him a game loss because he failed deck check. And what I mean by that is that Will had the wrong dev link. He was in the wrong for having the wrong dev link. He was, instead of playing a Brook, he was playing Luffy. And they mean the exact same thing, the 2K counter. In the spirit of the rules, Will is fine, but with the spirit of the deck list and how tournament organizers are supposed to be, that's supposed to be a round loss. If it was malicious, it would be a disqualification. And obviously this here, it wasn't malicious, right? So he didn't get disqualified, but they'd kind of make it really easy for you to fuck up. And it'd be really nice if they just had a picture deck list and a dev link. So there's no misconstruction of what's going on there. And that's the main thing. Will has played the last 5 weeks in online tournaments and gotten deck checked every single time using the same dev link and a picture deck list. And they said, oh, that's fine because it has a picture deck list. We know what you mean by those cards. And then all of a sudden now it's an issue. He did end up still getting 3rd place, but you know, who knows if he could have got 1st or 2nd, right? He could have just lost that game anyway. But it still just kind of felt like really bad within the spirit of the rules. So that's probably my main gripe with that. And, you know, I wish, you know, Top Cut would at least just do a picture deck list next time so we wouldn't have that issue, and or just do both. And obviously it's on that fault of Will, of that mistake, but there needs to be some sort of way to make it so it's not easy to make that mistake, right? Because especially Will would know if he had the same issue because he had that same dev link for 5 weeks with basically the wrong dev link, right? and no one said anything. So it's kind of weird. He's pretty innocent here, right? And it's just kind of a really shitty situation, and they're just apologetic for it. But I still think it's complete bullshit. But you know, very biased opinion here. So you know, what am I gonna do? Yeah, I do want to say, guys, thank you so much for watching this video again. If you're interested in buying some cards, just message me on Twitter, right? I do have some high rarity cards that'll be jumping on Facebook soon in order to, you know, pay for these travels. And again, make sure you come up and say hi to me in Pasadena. I will be there in passing. And at Nationals as well, I will be there as well. Don't know what I'm cooking up yet for that. But yeah, make sure you guys if you guys like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. I may do less games, but more discussion type things. Please go to my Twitch and follow my Twitch. And it's been pretty hot. I'll be actually playing some games and talking about One Piece, playing other games. And if you like that, just make sure you stop in and say hi to that as well. And, you know, I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.